my dreams, cooking up some fight in the kitchen light. Knives go so precise, making spooky rice. David's at the killer chef, whipping the terror with zest. Movies and meals collide, horror flavors on the side. Chopping fear with flair, monsters everywhere. Gory scenes so bright, dine and fright. Lights down, it's showtime.
Welcome to the cutting room kitchen, where we cut straight to the gut. Here we honor our most esteemed films of the past by pairing cinematic elements, savory ingredients, and a chef's killer edge. To craft a uniquely themed dish, we encourage you to recreate at home, while also aiming to instruct and entertain in the killer chef fashion. Today we'll be taking a look at the 1982 horror classic Poltergeist, written by Steven Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper. We are complementing the film with the Freeling family house steak. Today we're employing the reverse-seared method, where you cook the steak in the oven until it's ready, and then you bring it out on your frying pan and sear it at medium. I present to you the Freeling family house steak, and we'll show you the reverse-sear method and how to do it. Poltergeist is a 1982 supernatural horror film written by Steven Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper. It follows the Freeling family, a progressive 80s modern family with a house to match. Paranormal activities ensue, and their 5-year-old daughter is taken across dimensions and trapped by a malevolent spirit, forcing the family to unite and fight to get their daughter back. Craig T. Nelson plays the father, Stephen, along with Jo Beth Williams playing Diane, his wife. They have 3 kids: Dana, the typical teenage rebellious type, Robbie, the sci-fi nut, and Carol Ann, who's essentially the baby of the family. Stephen is thriving as a real estate agent in early 80s economy, who uses recreational substances with his wife while reading The Man, the President, Reagan in his spare time. We want to cut about 3 inches from the stem so we get the real meat of the asparagus. To prep your asparagus, soak them in water for about an hour before cooking. Heather was one of the 2 actors involved in the entire 3-movie franchise. She also gave a tour de force performance way beyond her years as a child. Craig was chosen for his good looks, height, and tough nature, but he loves his family and wants to protect them as much as he can. Craig was also starring in some other things that he played the bad guy, which would be Turner and Hooch, The Devil's Advocate, and the last 2 episodes of Monk, but he will be most well known for Poltergeist and his hit series, Coach. Jo Beth was chosen for her extreme acting skills and physical attraction. You could later see her in the movie Stop or My Mom Will Shoot as Sylvester Stallone's girlfriend and police captain. She also played Rita's unbearing mother in Dexter. Zelda was chosen for her short stature, childlike voice, and extreme wit. She also appeared in all 3 films alongside Heather O'Rourke. As my dad used to say, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Now that the steak is seasoned, we're going to let it sit for a while and work on our sauce. Tobe Hooper is a legendary director that made his directorial debut on one of the most controversial, unique, and scariest films ever made, the 1974 classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Wes Craven was definitely inspired by him, and it shows in his classic and controversial tale, the 1977 The Hills Have Eyes. Tobe Hooper had an extremely successful year in 1986 by doing a remake of the classic 1956 horror film Invaders from Mars, as well as a sequel to his Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He definitely inspired other juggernaut directors such as Ridley Scott, Wes Craven, and Rob Zombie. Unfortunately, he passed away at the age of 74 on August 26, 2017, but his legend will never die. Spielberg is one of the most prolific directors of all time, with 50+ years under his belt. He truly is a master of his craft, with first film being Duel in 1971, of course the mega hit Jaws in 75, and then ended recently with The Fabelmans in 2024. Steven Spielberg has crossed over multiple genres, and in 1998 gave us one of the most authentic and amazing Academy Award nominated films on war ever, Saving Private Ryan. Pour approximately a cup of your red blend wine. Grab your shallot, cut it in half, peel it, and then dice it. A little trick to take the skin off the garlic: take the flat portion of your knife, smash it down, and then peel the skin off before you chop it. Grab your saucepan and heat to a medium heat. Once the stove is on, you could start by adding the beef broth. Pour in your half a cup of beef broth. Pour in a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Now sprinkle in your oregano and sprinkle in your thyme. Add diced shallots. Whisk. Now add your garlic and add your butter. Once the pot starts smoking, add your basil and parsley. Once all the ingredients are in, increase your heat a scotch and start whisking. Heather O'Rourke was one of the best childhood actors ever. She's intelligent, she's sweet, she appeared in several commercials, but is best known for Poltergeist. Heather O'Rourke was actually discovered by Steven Spielberg in the MGM commissary where she was dining with her mother. He asked her to read for the part of Carol Ann, but she started laughing too many times, so she had to come back where she did it much more seriously because Spielberg wrote very scary storyboards and made her actually scream, and then she got the role. Heather O'Rourke was such an amazing actress that she gave a performance seasoned well beyond her peers at the time. Unfortunately, in 1987, when almost wrapping up on Poltergeist 3, Heather O'Rourke was misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease and given medicine which actually led to her untimely passing. Once your oven is preheated at 250, place your steak inside. In the swimming pool sequence at the end, they used real skeletons because the crew said it would be cheaper to use real skeletons than to make fake ones. They didn't tell JoBeth Williams that she would be acting with real skeletons. When the parapsychologist Marty actually goes into the laundry room after he's disgusted by what he sees that he possibly could have eaten, the face-filling scene was actually done using Spielberg's arms and face. The significance of the tree eating Robbie, as well as the clown attacking Robbie, was Spielberg's little addition because as a child, he was scared of the tree outside his window and hated clowns. The Freeling house that was actually occupied during filming still stands today and was sold by a couple who lived there back in 2009. The MPAA originally gave the film an R rating, but eventually after several cuts, it was given a PG rating. The PG-13 rating would not be available until 1984. Since we got the trivia out of the way, now let's talk about the curse. The curse was rumored to be established by the fact that they upset ancient burial ground and dug up the skeletons to use in the pool scene. The recipients of the curse would include Dana's character, Dominic Dunn, who was asphyxiated by her boyfriend. The curse continued on the set of the 1986 sequel, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, when actor Julian Beck, playing the Reverend Henry Kane, passed away from stomach cancer. Will Sampson, who played Taylor in Part 2, died from a botched heart and liver transplant. The curse continued onto the set of Poltergeist 3 when Heather O'Rourke, at the age of 12 in 1987, died from a misdiagnosis of Crohn's disease, but she was given medicine that killed her. Many other people associated with the trilogy were also associated with the curse. However, these 4 actors were the ones most commonly recognized. Now that the meat has reached 130 degrees, we're ready to reverse sear. I have already set the temperature to medium-high heat. We're going to start by drizzling a little olive oil into the pan. Add butter to the steak. Begin basting the steak with the butter. Make sure to do this for about 2 minutes on each side. Add a rosemary stem. We have the steak ready. We're going to let it rest for 10 minutes, let the juices settle, and now we're going to take our asparagus and put them in the frying pan. The film composer, Jerry Goldsmith, initially went with a more angelic and melodic tone in his score for the opening sequence of the film as well as the ending, but the meat of the movie, he has a very dark and ominous score. Jerry Goldsmith also scored the Omen franchise and would go on later to score such classics as Gremlins in 1984 and the sequel, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, in 1986. Unfortunately, Jerry Goldsmith passed away at the age of 75 while battling lung cancer. Once you've cut and arranged your asparagus, season them with light salt and pepper. You're using the juice and the butter and the essence from the steak to heat them up till they're nice and golden brown. And then you're going to place them gently on top of the steak. Since the steak and asparagus are already heated, the finishing touch is the wine sauce. Allow the rosemary to give the wine sauce some essence. For a final garnish, I've decided to add 1 mushroom for every member of the Freeling family. The reverse-seared method has made it tender, juicy, and the rosemary gives it a floral aroma. I would give this steak a 9 out of 10.
This house is clean.
I give Poltergeist from 1982 an A+. Great visual effects, certainly for the time, good solid acting by an all-around great cast, and a fun but yet scary film for the whole family to enjoy. Thanks for joining us again. We hope we have fulfilled your viewing experience with this film-inspired dish. Let us know what you come up with and send us some suggestions. It's up to us to keep these fun titles alive for others to enjoy as much as we have. Please like and consider subscribing. Stay up to date with the kitchen on our social media. Get additional content and exclusives by joining one of our Patreon tiers. Download our podcast, The Final Course, for extras and extended topics not covered here. Until next time, I have been the Killer Chef, David Seth. Elliot, did you cook the drumettes and not use the hot sauce? Did you? You didn't? You son of a bitch! You only cooked the chicken and you left the hot sauce? You son of a bitch, you only cooked the chicken. You left the hot sauce, didn't you? Didn't you, you son of a bitch?
Lights down, it's showtime. Popcorn with a twist of grime. Creepy cocktails here to start. Cuisine and art. Cooking up some fright in the kitchen light. Loving up some fright, making spooky rice. David Seth, the Killer Chef, whipping up terror with zest. Movies and meals collide. Horror flavors on the side. Chopping fear with flair. Monsters everywhere. Gory scenes so bright. Dine and fright. Lights down, it's showtime. Popcorn with a twist of grime. Creepy cocktails here to start. Cuisine and art. Blending fear and spice. Creatures in the rice. Serving with a scream. A chef's dream. A chef's dream. A chef's dream.
This kitchen is clean.